The relationship between humans and dromedary camels began in the Arabian Peninsula around 3,000 to 4,000 years ago. Due to their extraordinary capacity to live in deserts, the camels played a vital role for the nomads to be able to survive in this hostile environment. Camels had been esteemed in the Bedouin culture as their constant companion, moving from one place to another in the search for water and food. Nowadays, camels hardly ever roam the desert freely. In some places, camels are used for tourism today. Especially in the Gulf region, camels are also bred and kept for racing and beauty contests, which play an important social and economic role. And above all, camels are used as farmed animals for the production of milk, meat and fiber. The market for camel meat has grown, with hundreds of thousands of camels treated specifically for slaughter. This is where Egypt comes into play. My name is Ali. Together with my colleague Ian, I'm here in Egypt to investigate into the trade of slaughter camels. Our journey starts in Birkash, north of Cairo. Here, the biggest camel market of the country takes place every week. People even tell us that it is the biggest market for camels in the whole northern Africa. It is Friday. Today is auction day, where up to 6,000 camels are sold. All these camels are sold for slaughter to cover the demand for camel meat in the country. Nearly all of the camels have yellow ear tags indicating from which country they originate. And also, the traders and workers at the market confirm what we see. All these camels come from Sudan. Equipped with our cameras, we went to investigate the details of the camel's journey, which ends here, in Birkash, more than 1,200 kilometers from the Sudanese border. We start our journey towards the south, to Abu Simbel, close to the border with Sudan. From there, the camels are transported on trucks to the market in Birkash. Some questions weigh heavily on our minds. Under which conditions are the camels transported? How many hours are they on the road? our travel to the south, we realized that there is a lot of animal movement on the roads, not only of camels. Also horses, cattle and other farmed animals are transported. Egypt does not have an animal welfare law. There is no specific legislation that protects the animals during transport and slaughter. From the road, we spot some camel farms near Darao, in the south of Egypt. The sun is burning on the fields where the camels are tied and hobbled by their feet. They have no shade, no water, and the short ropes tied around their legs prevent them from moving freely. The yellow ear tags tell us that these camels originate from Sudan.
نعلفها وبعد كده نطلعها لسوق مصر.
سوق مصر. يعني سوق مصر يعني اللي هو القاهرة يعني.
القاهرة. يعني الخميس نركب من هنا الاربعاء.
اوكي.
يوم الاربعاء نمشي من هنا. بس نوصل هناك الصبح طبعا زي ما انت عارف.
The farmers explain that they keep the camels here for fattening for approximately 3 months. Then they send them by truck to Cairo for slaughter. We are now in Darao. It's in the south, and it's supposed that in few minutes we're gonna stop in a camel market, and it's supposed to be like one of the biggest markets in the region here in the south.
على اليمين مش على اليسار صح؟
على النص.
اوكي تمام شكرا كثير مع السلامة.
Every Saturday and Sunday, the camel market takes place here in Darao. It is a key trading hub for camels in this region. People tell us that up to 2,000 camels are sold here weekly. Among the camels, we see again many from Sudan. Their bodies are covered in scars. Some are from cauterizations, a traditional and very painful method of treating sick animals. The others are hot brandings to identify the single animal. The conditions here in Darao are comparable to those at the camel market in Birkash. It lacks infrastructure. There is no shade, no water and no food offered to the animals during the market day. The camels have one of their front legs tied up, so they cannot run away and are easier to handle for the traders. When it comes to the loading of the camels, wooden sticks are used with full force to move the frightened animals. What do you think, Ian? What do you think?
Same old shit, different place, same old shit. It's miserable. Beginning of the miserable end, the transport to the slaughterhouse. It's just where it all goes bad, isn't it?
We leave Darao behind us and continue southwards. More questions arise as we get closer to the start of the camel's journey in Egypt, the quarantine stable in Abu Simbel, from where they will be transported to Cairo. Well, now we are in Abu Simbel, the last town in Egypt, actually, before crossing the border to Sudan. In the town of Abu Simbel, nothing reveals the business of the camels here, except the big, empty trucks that are normally used to transport camels on long distances. It is Monday. Today, the camels arrive with trucks at the quarantine stable here in Abu Simbel, after having crossed the Sudanese border to Egypt. At the quarantine stable, the camels stay for 2 days. It is Wednesday. 2 days later, the quarantine is over and the camels are loaded onto the big trucks. So now we are outside the quarantine stable at Abu Simbel, and we observed the loading of the camels, and now we are waiting for the trucks that they will transport the camels probably to Cairo. In the afternoon, one of the trucks is finally leaving the quarantine stable with the camels on board. At this point, 1,200 kilometers lie ahead of the camels, crossing Egypt from the south to the north. In total, it will take us more than 24 hours. Sand, stones, and the endless expanse of the desert are our constant companions for the next hours. Even in the early evening, the sun is still burning mercilessly from the sky. The temperature is around 43 degrees. The truck is not equipped with a roof, which means that the camels are exposed to the blazing sun. There is no shade for them on board. In Egypt and many other countries in the Middle East, it is common to transport camels in a sitting position, with their legs tied so they cannot stand up. As the tour drivers tell us, 40 camels are loaded on this truck. They are transported like packages, one camel next to the other, row after row. In the wild, camels would walk more than 20 kilometers and spend around 8 to 12 hours every day searching for food and water. Here, on board the truck, the camels can't do anything. Hour after hour passes, and Cairo is still a long way away. The truck winds its way through the lonely dark desert, while the camels are still sitting in the same position, forced into immobility. The animals do not receive food or water during the entire journey. Just because the camels can survive in extreme conditions and with little water, does not mean that they are doing well and are in a good state of welfare. Animal welfare is not just about pure survival. It is above all about the quality of life of each individual. But what quality of life do these camels have? We have been accompanying the camels for more than 13 hours now, and still no end in sight. Memories from our journey come back to our minds. What happened to the dead animals we saw on the way? This trade with the camels from Sudan is a lucrative business for many people. It is all about money and profit, while the camels are treated like commodities, as if they would not feel pain and suffering. After 24 hours, the truck arrives at the market in Birkash. Weak, exhausted, and emaciated, the camels are not given any time to adapt, but are kicked and beaten off the truck. All the hardship and suffering of the camels just to be sold here at the market for slaughter the next day. It is Friday again, market day in Birkash. The camels we followed are being sold today, along with many other camels who were transported from Sudan to Birkash on the same route. Once sold, they are loaded on small pickup trucks to be transported to the slaughterhouse. This is where their miserable journey ends.